Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Saturday evening, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. Got a word for you. Tap in. So guys, I was working on something, so I was definitely not going to make a recording this evening. But I was reading a comment from a young man. He commented in the video that went viral, and so when I read his message, I said, you know what, I'm going to jump on really quickly, and I want to make a topic about this conversation. I've made it before, but of course, you guys know there's tons of new people here. So grateful and thankful for you guys. So I just want to say something really quickly because, again, I know a lot of people really don't know me. My old subscribers, bear with me because you guys already know this, but I'm a non-biased person, right? I'm a person who I'm blessed to see things from different perspectives, meaning just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't see a man's perspective. Many times I actually agree with the man's perspective. I would like to say I'm called to men. A lot of my ministry has been more towards men. So I'm not one of the women who move with the masses where all women say this, all women think this, all women are attacking men. That's just not who I am, and you guys already know that, but I want to put that disclaimer out here for my new people. So here's the thing, guys, and for my old subscribers, this video is going to pretty much sound redundant to you, so you can, it starts to be like, well, she said this before. Just bear with your girl here, please. All right, so you have men in the world, a lot, who feel like women will judge them, leave, often criticize them when their money game is not up, right? And they have definitely a point, right? Because it's very, very common. Here's my whole perspective on that. There's a difference between a man having a down season, or even a couple of seasons, down seasons, versus just being straight up trifling and just don't do anything ever, right? He's the one who women take care of him. He doesn't work ever. Instead, he'd rather live with women on public housing and et cetera, right? To me, that's just a trifling man in general. But a man who's tried and always trying, right? He's always on his game, but he hits rough seasons. There are women who will walk out and leave this man because it's a bad season. Seasons rotate. So he can be in a very down season today. He's lost his job, whatever. He's in a down season. And then next year, he can be a millionaire. Seasons rotate. My thing with men, as I've always said, again, my ministry, I believe I'm called to men. This is what it's really always been. I always try to encourage men that I know, again, I had a hard time trying to just grasp this, and I fully have grasped it. Men are visual first. Most. It's never all of anything, right? There's always an exception to the rules. Men are visual first. They're captivated by what they consider to be beauty, because beauty is subjective. They're captivated by that first. And testing her spirit, for some reason, tends to fall way after the fact. Now that he's not so captivated by her because he's been with her, months or even years. And now it's like, oh, I'm realizing you really don't have my back. I'm realizing that you only wanted me for my money. I'm realizing that comes after the fact, after all that newness have worn down. Why not be visual first, right? I guess you guys are just wired that way. Why not be visual first, or captivated by beauty or body or whatever first, but test the spirit? How do you test the spirit? Well, you guys know how to test women. You do it all the time, right? You guys know how to test women. Before you get too caught up, right? And then develop this soul tie that it's hell to break with a soulless woman, soulless, who've never really cared about you or probably anybody, right? She's money hungry, and listen, that's the majority of women, and I'm a woman telling you that, right? I and many people, especially many of my good sis here, we fall in that maybe 10-15% of category where we're just, listen, our heart posture is right, our spirits are right. Doesn't mean we're perfect, doesn't mean we may not have our issues, but our heart posture, our spirits are right. But what typically happens with women like that? So the same way that men get burned and then they develop this almost like a ice box over their heart, the same thing happened with women. So I'm gonna read this message first, and then I'll go on a little bit more with my thoughts. Okay, so it says, all of this sounds nice, but when someone hurts you over not being financially stable, you never get over that until you get to your riches or success. Most of us are chasing this carrot on a stick while the other person isn't even thinking about you and living their life with someone who has more of a life than you. I've been walking around 20 years trying to get over someone, and finding someone who have their life together. And I'm still struggling like I'm being punished. I'm tired, really tired of waiting on, quote unquote, this moment for God to do something. I work myself I didn't mean curse, but near to death, and still have had things repeatedly destroy me financially. At almost 50 years old, I'm beginning to not even care about At almost 50 years old, I'm beginning to not even care because I've lost 20 years of life living in my head and again chasing this carrot on a stick. 20 years I will never get back. But I'm sure someone will tell me it's my fault, or I have loaded excuses for God and loaded to fire on me. My good bro, I stopped what I was doing to make this recording, because as I read through this, being an empath, right? An empath don't have to be next to a person to feel what they're going through. Okay, the average person who's not an empath, you can read something or you can see something and you can empathize with it. Like, you can really empathize with it, like, oh wow, that's messed up. I feel bad for him. But as an empath, you literally feel what the person is feeling. You feel their spirit. You feel that sadness. You feel that disappointment. You feel that hurt. You feel it. Okay, my good bro. First. I want to say this to you. Again, being called to men, this is a topic that, like, very common. And one thing that I typically always say to men is this. If you've ever hurt someone in the past, it could be 50 years ago. You may have hurt your first girlfriend in high school. You may have cheated on her with her best friend. If you've done anything in the past to hurt someone, you may have forgotten it. You may have been living this crazy life and you might have just been doing your thing. And, listen, we're human. We're human, right? You might have been a straight fool at one point. Ask God to show you your heart. Ask God to bring back to your memory anybody that you could have hurt. I don't care if it was 50 years ago. Because men right now, I'm speaking about, they love to say things like, well, yeah, but I shouldn't be getting dragged now because I did that 15 years ago. But it still have to come back around on you. And that's not easy to hear because you feel like, well, but I've changed. I'm doing the right thing now. That's now. But you got to still go back. There's a open something still in the spirit realm. You got to go back and make that thing right. Ask God for directions. He may say, go back and apologize, right? It's going to require you to put your pride aside, right? He's going to go back and he'll tell you what you need to do so you can go ahead and boom, cap, whatever that is, this open in the spiritual realm. See, again, people are moving and thinking on the fleshly realm. This is we're spiritual beings. So you got to go back and cap whatever you have done to hurt someone. Next, forgive yourself if that is you. And I'm not saying this is you, sir, because we're speaking more about your finances here, but I know there are other men listening. Forgive yourself first. You got to forgive yourself because if you're 30, if you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60, you might have did this stuff when you was 20. We all were crazy. We all were crazy at some point. You are not the same man at 50 that you were at 20. Forgive yourself. I can't tell you how many men who I sit down with, who I'm on Zoom with, who I have in my personal life, family, friends, who I have in my personal life, who are still hurting about something that happened 20, 30 years ago. There's a gentleman who was telling me that, I think he was like early 20s, 21. He was really, really in love with this girl, vice versa. He cheated on her. She found out. And like 3 weeks later, she met a cop, married the cop, and moved to California. All these years later, I think it was like, 20, 30 years, something like that. All these years later, he's an alcoholic. He's never loved again. He's swimming in this pool of regret because he just felt like, well, if I didn't do this or if I did do this, this would have never happened. She would have. Well, you really don't know that. You don't know that. You could have done the right thing and she could have still left you 10 years later. You don't know that. God may have had a whole different wife for you. But you would never, ever get to even meet this woman who was always designed for you because you're shut down. Your heart, you're shut down. You could have met your wife years ago. But if you're shut down, you can't even receive her when she comes into your presence. Now, because your situation is financial, again, this is very common. Women typically, not all, right? Because I got some friends who are solid. Like, listen, my man is going through a difficult time. Things are hard right now, but this is not common for him. He's just in a down season. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a second job and hold him down until but guess what? That man is out there trying every day, right? He's trying. He's just not laying there. So a real solid chick, will hold her man down if he's in the down season. A soulless chick who was always about money, who probably never really even cared for you, she's walking out. That's the same thing with these guys who are getting older. I'm like, oh, sir, you're older, right? And I'm not gonna call no age, whatever. You're older, but you're sitting here letting these guys, these new age guys or whatever on social media trying to push you to make you think like you need a chick who's 21. Sir, you mess around and get diabetes, mess around and get gout, mess around and get ED and erectile dysfunction, mess around and get sick and see if this 21-year-old stick by your side. Guarantee you she'll be out the first day. So my question remains to men, some men. Are you searching based on your flesh your desires, what you want. And granted, now we have to factor that in. We can't be, we got to be real here, right? You got to be attracted to what you're attracted to, whatever. But have you ever asked God to step in and say, Lord, obviously I don't know what the hell I'm doing, because, I'm ending up with obviously I don't know what I'm doing. So can you please show me the path, right? I'm sure you're going to throw me in the isolation season so I can heal, right? Because I can't meet and even receive the woman you have for me until I go through a healing process, until I get myself together. And that doesn't mean more money, quote unquote, chasing the carrot on the stick, right? That will never fulfill you. I have friends who are millionaires. It will never, and half of them, well, I won't even get into all that, but I'll just say it will never fulfill you. What that hole, that gap, that something in your spirit that's longing for something, the only thing that's going to fill that is purpose and a relationship, not religion, a relationship with God. More money that you're chasing, quote unquote, right? Whatever woman, I don't care how bad she is. That's going to be temporary. Nothing will fulfill your spirit until you tap into purpose and calling in a relationship with God. Throughout that process, God will naturally heal you, because he's going to love on you so much. He's going to love on you so much. And in turn, you're going to learn to love yourself. When you love yourself, you're not chasing just any type of chick, right? The type of chick, you're going to be very, very careful the type of chicks you even allow into your space. Because now it's more about the money. You got purpose, you got calling, you got too much to risk. So just any type of chick ain't coming up in your space, right? At this point, your flesh is disciplined. So once you're healing your whole, and in my opinion, only God can do it. Again, therapy is great, all that stuff. Only God can do it. Once you're healed and once you're whole, because when you're in this isolation season and you allow God to really come in and heal you, every area that you have spoke about and what other men speak about, all that stuff will just, it seemed like it will just all be healed together, right? The finances, the hurt from who left, and the, who went on with her life. And sir, let me say this right quick to you, please. You said this person went on with her life. I'm not sure if you're in contact with her, but that same recording that you listened to and commented on, like I said in that recording, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You can say she went on with her life and things are all hunky-dory and merry-go-rounds and dandelions. You don't know that. She can be crying inside. She can be dying inside, but she can't let you know that. Her pride is there. So regardless of what you see, the facade of her smiling or whatever, they might be stunting on the gram or whatever, like, you don't know that. People stunt all the time. Most people aren't happy. It's just a facade. Don't worry about her, because you don't know. And again, I don't know you, so I don't know like your history and what. So there's a lot of moving parts there that I don't know. But I'll say this: if, all caps, if that happens to be the woman that God has for you, maybe God is just waiting on you. I don't know if she's a good girl. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that she left when money got rough, right? So I don't know her. But if she's a good girl, and if she is the girl that God has for you, God may just be waiting on you to get yourself together. Because what we do, and we don't even realize this, I've been there. We make people our God and don't even realize it. You are idling the person. You're idling the relationship. When you're sitting there and you're constantly going back and forth with the people, and foolishness and toxic mess. We are making people our God. So maybe God had to step in, which he do a lot of the times. He will step in, boom, separate that thing in whatever way. He doesn't care who little hearts get break in the process. But let me scoot you over here in the corner by yourself, toss you in isolation season so you can learn to put me first, because no man comes before me. When I've dealt with you and got you where I need you to be, I'll send her back. If that is the woman I always had for you. And when and if that happens, it will be the best love. Listen, whatever little play love y'all had going on, y'all playing footsies and everything cute and all that stuff. Okay, that's some cute love. But honey, that love, when them spirits collide, you will probably love her more. On the flip side, if that is not the woman that God has for you, God did you a favor, but you can't even receive his favor, which is everything that he has for you, because you're still swimming in this unhealed place. And I know what you're saying. I can feel it in the spirit now, because people like to say, I'm not unhealed. Listen, when you've been unhealed, you recognize unhealed, right? Because when you're healed, that's not even the conversation. It's like, listen, let's say, right? Going about your life, I'm going about mine. You wouldn't even be in my conversation, right? I'm not even calling your name. It's no hate, right? It's all love, for real. And if you're listening, it's all love, but ain't nothing happening. But it's no hate. There's no need to have a conversation about a person in your past if you're over it. When you're over it, that cap is locked. And when you're entertaining other people or whatever you got going on, you don't even think about this person because it's closed. When you're still longing for a person, when it's still that, what if? What if I did this? What if she did? Maybe if I get my life together, she'll come back. What if, maybe this could be what? That's because it's open-ended in the spiritual realm. You got to close it and cap it in the spiritual realm. As far as your money is concerned, in general, I do think it's very wise for men to build their financial stability first. And I know you have done that. You just had a bad season, but I'm speaking in general here. Before even entertaining the idea of a relationship or a woman, I think it's wise for men not to move in. And I know some of my sisters are side-eyeing me right now, but listen, I'm telling you, I'm a real one. Like, seriously, right? I don't think it's wise for a man to give up his life or give up his home or whatever and just move in with a woman all because he's in love and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, the first argument, the first time she loses respect for you for whatever reason, she's probably going to really lose. She's lost respect for you. She just ain't telling you. If she can get you to give up your whole house, your whole life, whatever, and just marinate into her whole life, and now you have no more life, no friends, no nothing, because your life is now all entangled with hers. That's cute at first, I guess. Not for me, because I need my space, right? Please don't overwhelm me, right? But after a while, get out. Get your stuff and get out. You know, my mother always told my brothers that. Never move in with a woman. Ladies, I know y'all talking crap about me right now, but it's all right. Okay. Level up, get your own stability, get yourself together before even entertaining a relationship or a marriage or whatever the case may be. Please stop looking for a woman solely based on her beauty and her body. That's fine. Again, just make sure the spirit matches. Next, again, if you've ever hurt someone in the past, and guess what? You have. Not you, but whoever's listening, somebody, because the spirit just told you who that person is. The spirit brought somebody back up into your mind. So ask God how to handle that thing, right? He might send you back. He might tell you to write a letter. He might, listen, okay, go make it right in the sense of, see, here's another thing what people don't realize too. You know when I was saying earlier about things being open-ended in the spiritual realm, because it's almost like that may have been the one that got away, and what if this and what if that? Sometimes it's also open-ended because that conversation didn't end with an exclamation mark. That last conversation or that last encounter, you guys might have been fussing or acting a fool, or it just might have been, whatever. But it left with a question mark. So sometimes God will send you back and have that one last conversation to put that. I got sent back one time, honey. Let me tell you something. I think I fussed with God for about a week because I did not want to go back, right? But sometimes God will send you back to put that exclamation mark there so you can cap it off. Because when you got people here still yearning for you and still thinking she's the one that got away, he's the one that got, like that stuff is too much in the spiritual realm. You got to cap that thing off. So if God sends you back, go ahead and make it right, or do whatever the direction is, whatever. Admit yourself into a healing season, a single/isolation/healing season. Enter into that season on your own, because if God has a large destiny for you and he's calling you towards purpose and calling, if you don't take the convictions and admit yourself, check yourself in, he's going to clip you up. And honey, when he clip you up, let me tell you something, you can get a receding hairline. My lady's going to get edges snatched, right? When you get clip up because you're disobeying his convictions to get yourself together. And let's be clear here, right? Because I know a lot of you are new here. Obviously, as you look at me, I'm not the churchy, holy person, right? I love God. Whew, I love me some God, hon. Let me tell you, right? I have a personal relationship with God, but no one has ever or will ever try to put me in a box and make me think like, oh, you can't talk about God, you can't love God, you can't be all spiritual, and you out here showing legs. Oh, you gonna see these legs, period. Right? I'm not that chick. I'm not that like overly holy. That's just not who I am. I love God. I have a relationship with God, and I'm tapped into my purpose and my calling. I just wanted to say that because I don't want people to think like, again, when God starts to call you towards your purpose and your calling, like it means you have to turn into a minister or a bishop. That's not everybody's calling. Take Dion said, Coach Prime. Look at his calling. That's not churchy, holy. But he's teaching those boys about God, right? He's, But a lot of people really run away from their calling because they're thinking that they're going to be on this role with some Stacey Adams on, at the pulpit. That's not everybody's calling. And you churchy, holy, stop trying to force people there. I don't even know how I got on this. I'm all the way left. But anyway, admit yourself into your healing season. Allow God to really work on you. And let me just tell you, please be patient with yourself, because that season is not going to be a season that ends quickly, right? But if you submit to the process, you will get through it more quickly. The more you fight it, because when you're in it, you're in it. You can't turn back. When you're in it, you're locked in it, right? So you might as well just go ahead and submit to the process. God is going to show you everything about your life, right? Any childhood issues, any trauma, right? Because first of all, how did you even hook up with a woman who's that soulless that she will leave you in a down season, right? So what is it about you? Were you the person in school who the girls didn't want, and you're now choosing a certain type of woman? So he's going to expose all these things to you and figure out, why are you attracting these type of women, and what do you need to work on so I can get you to a point where you can receive the proper type of woman that I have for you. The chick gonna be bad and her spirit is right, period. After your healing season, my friend, this money that she keeps dissing you or knocking you about, this quote unquote chasing the carrot, that you speak of, you will never, ever chase a carrot again. The carrot will be chasing you. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.